For me, it is about the law and people. That is not a legal defense, let me tell you. And how people can resolve and better themselves.
Justice with passion.
I knew I was going to go into law because I always defended everybody. I was always the one who found a solution and tried to resolve the problem by having people talk to each other.
Justice with truth.
So I'm giving you one more chance to tell me the truth.
This is Justice for All with Judge Cristina Pérez. Samuel Cassidy is suing Brooke Johnson in the amount of $5,000. Mr. Cassidy claims Ms. Johnson profited from his published recipes and refuses to split the proceeds with him.
Mr. Cassidy, you are suing the defendant for $5,000.
Yes.
Over a cooking book?
Yes, some recipes that she took from me and made profit off of.
Okay, explain.
Actually, it was a joint effort to raise money for my niece's PTA meetings. My niece and her daughter are best friends.
Okay.
That's how I know her. I've been baking goods for my niece's fundraisers for a couple years now. I met her about a year and a half ago.
Okay. Now, I understand you said in your statement that you're the guardian of your niece?
Yeah, I have guardianship of my niece.
Okay. And then her mom and dad are?
Well, they're not in the picture anymore.
So that's why you're active in her school and her PTA?
Yes.
So you're a baker?
Yeah, I bake. I make the food for the events.
Got it.
You know, I have a few popular items that I make all the time, and
are you a good baker?
I am. They enjoy my food, which is why she like cooks me into the idea of making a cookbook for the PTA, like to raise money for the school. I thought it was a fabulous idea. We went into a joint effort.
Okay.
A supposed joint effort to create this cookbook to raise funds for the school. We were to give 60% of the profit to the school and take the remaining 40% and split it between the two of us.
And you would split between the two of you?
Yes.
So did you guys end up writing a book, or?
Yes, we, Your Honor, hi. We did write a book. It's called Clean Eats for Kids, and we co-wrote this book together.
Okay.
That's a lot.
And is it that you wrote, or was just recipes?
It's recipes that I wrote.
All right. Is there like?
But there's also other recipes in there from other people. They're not just his recipes.
Okay. Do you guys have a copy of this book? Or?
I have.
I understand you also. Go ahead, Renard. I also understand you had an e-version of the book that you would send out to the parents.
Yes.
They paid $15 for it, or something like that, and they would buy it. Okay. Clean Eats for Kids, cooking delicious, healthy dishes. Delicious. Okay. Good pictures, too. Who took the pictures?
I was in charge of hiring the photographer to take them.
But I did the designing of the book. I did.
She consulted. She pointed her finger. That's it.
Okay.
I decided, you know, the layout of it and what fonts we would use and what order we would put the recipes in.
So then what happened? So you created this for the benefit of the PTA. You sold it to parents. 60% of the donations or of the revenues were donated to the school, and you two split 40%?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what happened?
Our verbal agreement was to go into for the production of the book, we were to pay $125 each at $5 a copy. We made 50 copies. And she did not pay. I wound up paying the entire
I offered
bill.
to pay, and he had already paid. He was kind of really bossy during the whole production of the book.
Okay.
Kind of trying to.
So then why $5,000? So explain to me what's going on.
Okay. Well, when I met her, her following. She's a social media influencer.
I'm a known internet personality.
I'm really bad with the internet and things like that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know. I'm sorry. But, okay. So you have a following. So what do you do online?
Well, I started out doing videos just of my girls, my twin daughters, you know, at home with the dogs, stuff like that. And people really took a liking to it. So I've been on some talk shows.
You really on talk shows?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, she decided to take a few of my recipes and perform them with her children, and the video was really, really popular. And she obviously got money off of that video, and she was offered an on-air spot. And she made money off of that too, without including me or telling me any of it. They wanted her to talk about the video. They brought her on a show to talk about the video.
What did she talk about on the video?
She was making my recipes. I have 3 of the popular recipes that I make for the meetings. There was a deep fried cheesecake, a deep fried banana cheesecake, a caramel blondie upside down cup,
wow,
and a lasagna. And it was a lasagna that was there.
Your Honor, those were my recipes. They were, loosely influenced by recipes from the book, but we cooked similar things, and they were mine.
Hold on. So, the deep fried banana cheesecake, the upside down blondie cupcake,
caramel cup. That's a cup. The blondie is down inside of the cup.
and then the lasagna.
And then the lasagna.
The lasagna that's in here.
Yeah, the lasagna that's in that book right now. The other recipes are not, although those desserts are diabetic friendly. All of those desserts are diabetic friendly.
Here. So these are your recipes.
All of mine.
Okay.
I did a cheesecake, but it was not deep fried. It was banana, but not deep fried.
So,
and the lasagna's vegetarian.
Is it true that on this video you used the platform of this book that you had?
Healthy eating for kids, it's a universal theme, and so I did have that theme, but I didn't per se use the book.
But you used
my recipes are influenced by recipes from the book, but they were my recipes.
Coming up on Justice for All.
But have you had a deep fried versus a non-deep fried?
Does it really matter if I had? Does it really matter if I had one? I mean, are you supposed to ask me? Are you supposed to be asking me the questions, or aren't I supposed to be asking you the questions?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
And later.
The time that I needed him the most, he wasn't there for me. He offered to drive my car, and he crashed my car into the car in front of him because he was distracted, and he didn't want to help me move.
We're back with the case of Samuel Cassidy, who is suing Brooke Johnson for breach of contract.
So, Mr. Cassidy, you are saying then the defendant, Mrs. Johnson, used your recipes from this book for her video, her YouTube video?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have proof of that they were your recipes?
Yes, I watched the video and I took snapshots of the video, and they look basically the exact same as it does in the book.
Screenshots. Okay, why don't you go ahead and give that to Renard? Okay, so the 3 recipes, the 2 desserts, and the lasagna.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So. All right. And Mrs. Johnson, what else? So you say these were not the same exact desserts?
They weren't.
The same exact recipes?
I did make a banana cheesecake, but it was not deep fried. And I did do a lasagna, and it had different cheese in it.
Okay.
And the 3rd dessert, I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, here's the cheesecake, right? The banana cheesecake?
The deep fried banana cheesecake, the blondie, upside down blondie cup, yes.
So
I didn't do an upside down blondie cup.
So it looks like the only thing you didn't do for the cheesecake is fry it, but it looks like the same. It looks like even the same picture.
That was the optional. That part, the deep fried banana, is optional.
It's a standard cheesecake recipe. Like I said, my recipes were influenced by the book, but
it's the same exact recipe as your book.
It's not deep fried.
Pamphlet. Okay. So then how much money did you make from this video? No, it's not the same exact recipes.
Have you had the deep fried cheesecake?
So the only difference is that you didn't fry it, based looking at your pictures. It's the same exact recipe. You just didn't fry it.
Well, we have similar taste in terms of the foods that we
She has my taste in food.
All right. So then how much money did you make off this video?
It wasn't that much. It was like $1,000 a video, and I did donate money back to the school from the profits for these videos. I gave them 60%.
So you made 3 videos?
I did.
Okay. And you made $3,000?
Yes.
So $1,000 each? And how much did you donate to the school?
I gave 60%, so that would be $1,800.
Okay. And you remained with you kept the rest of the money?
Yes.
Okay. And why not split that with Mr. Cassidy?
Well, I mean, these, like I said, they were my recipes, and
no, they weren't. They were from the book.
And we had never discussed. They were my recipes.
No, they weren't. They were from the book, from your book that has both of your names on.
Well, I disagree. They weren't exactly from the book. They were influenced by the book.
But the same exact recipe on the cheesecake, the only thing you didn't do was fry it.
But have you had a deep fried versus a non-deep fried?
Does it really matter does it really matter if I had one? I mean, are you supposed to ask me be asking me the questions, or aren't I supposed to be asking you the questions?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I mean, it's the same exact recipe that you put in this book that is on both of your names. So that means that this book is both of your names. The ebook, all the profits, you guys agreed. You guys did not have a written contract, but you agreed that anything from here was yours, despite the fact that, oh, this is my recipe, or that this is his recipe, or we tweaked it together. That means you can't do anything with the book unless you ask him for permission. You can't just take it off and go make money off of it.
I mean, we never had like a formal signing of doing anything outside of
the book. You both are listed as the author, so that means it's both of your property. You can't take tidbits and use it for your personal gain. Can't do that. So you made, how much money do you have left in profits?
The profits, so I gave 40% to myself.
So you have 12, so you kept $1,200,
yes.
Right? All right. So $600 of that should be Mr. Cassidy's. Okay. You guys came with the contract. I mean, you guys did the agreement. 60% to the school, 40% we split. So that's only fair. Okay? Anything else?
It's just that I feel like justice has been served.
Okay. Based on the evidence, I will grant the plaintiff's claim not in $5,000, but in $600, because that is the profit that you deserved under your original agreement of splitting the 40% profit. Good luck.
Thank you.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $600.
It feels good to finally get some credit for my recipes. I'm glad I'm getting my money.
I will happily pay you the money, even though the recipes were different.
Coming up on Justice for All.
We haven't spoken in a while, since probably about the time that we decided to live in different situations rather than be each other's roommates.
Your Honor, he was mad at me because his whole life I have pushed him and pushed him. I'm just simply suing him for the deductible that I think he should pay.
Closed captioning provided by Avery Lidman is suing Weston Brooks in the amount of $500. Mr. Lidman claims he asked his cousin to drive his car during an in-town move and says Mr. Brooks got into a rear-end collision.
Mr. Lidman and Mr. Brooks, you guys are cousins, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That is correct. We're like brothers, Your Honor.
So why is one brother suing the other brother?
Because his whole life he's been unable to take responsibility for his actions. And at the time that I needed him the most, he wasn't there for me. He offered to drive my car, and he crashed my car into the car in front of him because he was distracted, and he didn't want to help me move.
But he helped you move, so he was there for you.
He was, but not really, because it cost me even more problems.
So then what happened, Mr. Brooks?
When I arrived to start helping him move, it ended up being a lot more than I initially thought it would be. I was guessing it'd be about a 2-hour job, help him load, everything like that.
A 2-hour job?
Yeah.
Is moving ever a 2-hour job?
Your Honor, I never gave him any time frame. I just simply asked him to come help me move that day.
Okay, did you ask your cousin for details?
No, Your Honor, I just assumed that it would only be loading the boxes into the vehicles.
So you went there anyway, and you sucked it up and tried to help him for a couple hours?
Yes.
And then what happened next?
Next, he does say that I reluctantly helped him move. However, it didn't start off that way. I showed up, I tried having a good attitude at first. We haven't spoken in a while, since probably about the time that we decided to live in different situations rather than be each other's roommates.
Okay, how many months was that?
This was about, I'd say 9 months ago.
Okay.
We finished loading the boxes into the moving truck. Avery offered to drive the moving truck and asked me, at first politely, to drive his car. I did not want to drive his car, and I did tell him that. However, it ended up being him pushing me further and further into it, and I wasn't comfortable driving the car. I don't normally drive.
Coming up.
He was mad at me because his whole life I have pushed him and pushed him. I'm just simply suing him for the deductible that I think he should pay.
We're back with the case of Avery Lidman, who is suing his cousin, Weston Brooks, for negligence.
Do you
Your
know
Honor.
that your cousin doesn't normally drive? Do you have a driver's license?
I do have a driver's license.
But you just don't drive because you don't like to?
I don't like to. I'm usually in a ride share, riding my bike around town.
Okay, so you just don't like to drive. So did you know how far did you have to drive? From where to where?
It was 15 minutes down the street.
Okay, so busy streets or just
No,
neighborhood
it's
streets?
San Diego. It's not very busy.
And what happens?
I'm trying to follow him as closely as I can. However, he kind of just takes off. So
Okay,
I'm looking.
did you have the address of the new apartment?
I do. He gave me basic directions, and I tried to follow the street signs to get there. And maybe that is what made me a little bit distracted.
Okay.
Because I was following street signs, trying to catch up with them, trying to make it to where I can figure out where.
Does your car have
actually lives.
navigation?
No, it does not.
Okay, but your
But
phone
I'd
has
asked him to
navigation.
follow me.
Okay, but he obviously lost you.
Correct.
Okay, so then what happened? You lost him, and then did you pull over and try to look on your phone where you were supposed to go?
No, I just kept on looking at the street signs because I had a vague idea of where I was going.
Okay.
While I was going and looking at the street signs, once I looked forward, I noticed the person in front of me had hit their brakes and their brake lights were on.
Oh, so you rear-ended somebody?
Yes, I did rear end them.
Okay. All right, and what happened? You immediately got out. What happened?
Well, at first I tried hitting the brakes, and they shuddered. So I wasn't able to stop right away and ended up rear-ending the driver. We did get out, police arrived, and we exchanged insurance. However, I'm not insured on this vehicle.
All right, so then what else happened?
Your Honor, he was mad at me because his whole life I have pushed him like any older brother would do. You know, I wanted him to be the best that he could be. And the time that I needed him, he wasn't there for me. And now he doesn't want to man up and do what he's supposed to do and pay my insurance deductible.
So it cost you $500? So
$500.
What happened with your insurance because he wasn't an authorized insurance? I mean, you have your own insurance, right? So did you put it through your insurance?
It went through my insurance. Now my insurance is even going to be higher, but I'm not suing him for that. I'm just simply suing him for the deductible that I think he should pay.
Judge Perez's verdict when Justice for All returns.
He is responsible because he was
Do you have
driving my car.
evidence that you
And I
paid
do
your
have evidence.
deductible?
Thank you for
Okay.
asking. Right here. There you go.
So, Mr. Brooks, why don't you think you should be responsible for paying the insurance deductible?
Because I don't think I should be responsible paying for something that I had really very little.
So
Say
then
and
why did you
doing.
drive his car if you didn't want to?
I felt like he wouldn't stop asking me or telling me to do it until I finally agreed. I would have preferred to be able to drive the.
So that's why you feel you don't owe him $500 because you think he would have just pushed you until you did it?
Yes,
But you were
And-
driving the car, right?
I was driving the car.
You
yes.
were distracted trying to look at the street signs, right?
Yes.
And you rear-ended somebody, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You were in possession of somebody else's car. You damaged the car. You were careless. So based on the evidence, I will grant the plaintiff's claim for $500 as I find that the defendant was a direct cause of the damages to your car and thus he's responsible for the insurance deductible. Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $500.
I'm glad you're finally taking responsibility for your actions. It's about time.
The only reason I got into that accident is because I decided to help you. I learned my lesson not to do that again.